Good evening, everyone. I'm Fox 29 meteorologist Kathy Orr with a severe weather alert. We have a tornado warning in effect, a tornado warning in effect for Newcastle County, Delaware. This was a rotating thunderstorm located over Delaney Corner, or 10 miles south of Middletown, Delaware, moving northeast at 20 miles an hour. And this is the area of concern right here in Newcastle County. So as we take a zoom in, you can see the area of concern. This is Middletown. This is the cell. And as we put this into motion, you'll be able to see the direction of this severe storm moving once again to the northeast at 20 miles an hour. And at that speed and direction, the cell is going to be moving rather quickly in the direction toward the northeast, as I mentioned, at about 20 miles an hour. And it will be near Forest by about 8:59, Townsend by 9 o'clock, Point Breeze by 9:02, and even you can see areas like Fieldsboro by 9:07. Once again, this is a severe thunderstorm, a rotating thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado moving northeast at 20 miles an hour. The areas of concern: Middletown, Delaney Corners, Townsend, and Macy. If you know anyone that lives in this area, please advise them to get to an interior room of their home or away from the windows and wait until this dangerous storm passes. So, as you can see, the area of concern, this is the box area, and we're going to take a look as we take the radar off, and you can see the towns that we're concerned about in this particular area. So this is south of Middletown. The cell is moving northeast. We mentioned areas like Dexter Corner Road, even through Ratledge Road. This is Townsend, one of the areas under deep concern for this potential tornado. DuPont Parkway, Deer Run Road. Once again, this is a potential tornado 10 miles south of Middletown and moving toward the northeast at 20 miles an hour. So at that speed and direction, it will be near Macy, Delaney Corner, and Townsend within minutes as the storm progresses toward the north and the east. Once again, associated with this storm, we're talking about damaging winds and also the potential for some serious downpours. We're talking about rain rates of about 1 to 3 inches an hour, because these are soaking storms in addition to the severe weather potential with that tornado. I'm going to bring in my colleague, Scott Williams. And Scott, we're talking about very heavy rain associated with this and damaging wind potential, because these storms were generated in the Baltimore, Washington area, where even in Washington, D.C., we had a tornado warning earlier this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, temperatures today made it into the 90s again. Lots of heat, of course. Humidity just fueling these showers and thunderstorms. And you can see that heavy rainfall just coming down in sheets. We were, of course, just doing a Facebook Live talking all about the heavy rainfall moving through the I-95 corridor. But let's switch over to maps, and you can just really kind of see a little bit of that intensity moving through sections of Delaney Corner, moving toward the Townsend area. This is moving on off to the north and the east. Of course, a little spin, a little rotation with this. Zooming in, and you can see Dexter's Corner moving toward Highway 13, moving through the southern part of Newcastle County. Of course, there has been some Doppler radar indicated rotation with this. And of course, this was the same system that had a tornado warning around D.C. earlier this evening, moved through the Chesapeake Bay, the eastern shore of Maryland, and now it has a little bit of spin still with it. So those areas in question, the Smyrna area, you have some of those roads on there, of course, moving Oak Hill Road, moving just to the north and east there of the Smyrna, Delaware area. And also look at this, the Townsend area, you're included in that. This tornado warning just south of Middletown, Delaware, but moving from the Massey area into sections of southern Newcastle County. Look at that. The blue, that is showing us where there has been some rotation on ultimate Doppler. So it's had a history, of course, of some of that severe weather. So scattered severe thunderstorms still likely, especially now central southern Delaware into parts of South Jersey. So we're not out of the woods yet. And we were talking about this earlier, Kathy, looking at some of that helicity with this system. There was a little bit through central as well as southern parts of Delaware. So severe thunderstorm watch still in effect through midnight for most of the area. And yes, the flood watch that continues. But let's get back to Barron and you, Kathy, for much more on that tornado warning still in effect until 9:15 for Newcastle County.
Yeah, we're keeping a careful eye on that because I was just looking through all of the indicators that pick up the possibility of rotation, as you were, Scott, and I'm looking for the shear. That's one thing that we look at, and you can see some shear markers here, and that is the wind spinning higher up in the atmosphere at different speeds and directions, indicating some spin. So we have a little bit of shear. As we look at the past hour, there's been more, so it looks like that may be diminishing, and we're looking at a hail indicator as well. I'm not seeing much in the way of that or debris, which is a good sign because debris would mean that something actually touched the ground and we had some type of debris as a result. So that's actually good news. We're looking at the velocity here as well to see if there's any indication of some spin as well, which there is a little bit in this. So we'll keep a careful eye on that. But the heavy rain is really significant with this. So you have potentially a rain-wrapped tornado, and this moving toward the northeast, as I mentioned, at about 20 miles an hour. So it is dumping an enormous amount of rain in a very short period of time. Obviously, if you know anybody in this area, please tell them to suspend any type of travel. So it was the rotating thunderstorm was indicated 10 miles south of Middletown, and Townsend, one of the areas that we're concerned about within this warning area. So Pine Tree Road, Summit Bridge Road, Green Giant Road, Ratledge Road, even Eagle Nest Landing Road. This entire area is under that tornado warning, as Scott mentioned, until 9:15. So make sure you get into a safe and wait until this storm passes. And as you can see, associated with this, additional severe weather with very heavy rain right along the I-95 corridor with multiple reports of flood warnings in Philadelphia County, in Delaware County, Chester County. We are under flash flood warnings. That means flooding is happening and you should never drive across a road that is covered with water. We've had multiple reports of water rescues, of roads being blocked off because of how heavy this rain is. So right now we do have that tornado warning until 9:15 for Newcastle County, but we also have other reports of flash flooding that is significant as well. An additional severe thunderstorm warning for Sussex County, that is until 9:30, but really the focus is on this tornado warning that we've been watching and will continue to do so as it moves toward the east and northeast really slowly at about 20 miles an hour. And when we see that, we're talking about very slow moving systems that are going to be dumping a lot of rain. And I'm going to take a look at the accumulated rain to see what it looks like over this area. And you can see we've had so much. These yellows, if I take a look at how much rain this is. That's 3.7 inches of rain. That's near Chadds Ford. This is in Delco, 3.1 inches of rain. And right along the border of Newcastle County and the southern part of Chester County, 4 inches of rain. So this is why we have that flood warning up through our southeastern parts of Pennsylvania and that northern part of Newcastle County. And then you look at these other areas in Newcastle County, 2 inches of rain. Where we have the tornado warning, we do not have those types of rain rates just yet, but our computer system will definitely catch up, and I have a feeling we're going to see at least 2 to 3 inches of rain in this particular area as well. So we can't emphasize enough, it is not safe to be out driving in this evening, and in this particular area where our warning is, this is our area of concern. And once again, if I remove the radar, you're going to be seeing exactly where this warning area is. This is our tornado warning area south of Middletown. Townsend is included, Massey is included, Delaney Corner, and it will continue to move toward the east as far as that threat is concerned. And once this tornado warning is allowed to expire, most likely eastward, it will continue as a severe thunderstorm threat. So Townsend, we mentioned as one of the areas, Sawmill Road, Oak Hill School Road. If you live in any of these areas or communities, you know anyone that's out, please give them a call and let them know that a dangerous storm is moving through. We did mention that part of the problem with these severe cells has been the heavy rain and the cold front that is trying to make its way through the region. It's also the tropical humidity that we've had over us. If we look at our setup, this is what's going on right now. We have warm, humid air over us. Here comes this cold front, and it's squeezing all this moisture eastward. And this is the line of storms from Philadelphia through D.C., Richmond, all the way down to Charlotte. So millions of people impacted by these storms right now, and visibility in some areas reduced. Visibility at 10 miles is typically good. We're down to 2 miles in many locations because of the heavy rain. And we're looking at some very gusty winds in some areas across the area. And dew points, that's the moisture, the humidity over the region, in the 70s for most of us, especially where we're seeing the severe weather. And that is tropical humidity, what we're seeing right now, and heavy rain everywhere. This, of course, is in Delaware County with extreme heavy rain, where we have a flood warning in effect. That is in Media, Delaware County, and elsewhere we have conditions that have been deluged with heavy precipitation in the form of flooding rain. So that's something that we're going to continue to keep an eye on across the entire region. But once again, our main concern is this area, this tornado warned area. And we do have information of even some water rescues where we have that flood warning in effect. So very heavy rain, significant wind is possible in the tornado warned area. Scott?
Yeah, absolutely, Kathy. While you're moving that map in, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happening right now on our maps radar. And you can see clearly a little bit of rotation moving through sections of Newcastle County, a little bit of spin there. And that's just south of 301, moving through Highway 13. A lot of people, of course, take this on their way to the Delaware beaches, but looking at a little rotation, a little spin around the Townsend area down to Walker. So once again, we're talking about rainfall rates for this particular cell, anywhere from 2 to 3 inches per hour. There's vivid lightning. There's a blinding rainfall with this as well. Just kind of zooming in. Dexter corners, you can see right now we're looking at some heavy rainfall. Delaney corner, this has moved on off to the north and east of you, but anywhere between Townsend, Walker, along Highway 13, right through sections of Delaware. So zooming in a little closer, and you can see that bullseye around Townsend down to the Blackbird area. Let's switch back over to the Barron radar, and you can kind of see a little bit of a couplet, if you will, moving through that area. But look at some of the roads. You're underneath that tornado warning. Dexter Corner Road, we're talking about Blackbird Forest Road, Ratledge Road, Greer's Corner Road. You need to be in your safe place. DuPont Parkway goes right through that area just outside of the Townsend vicinity. And then as we move toward places like Ebenezer Church Road, also it looks like what do we have there? We have Money Road, Fieldsboro Road, Old State Road, Deer Run Road. So moving right through Highway 17 between Townsend as well as even getting down to the Walker area there in sections of Newcastle County, Delaware. So let's switch back to our maps radar, and you can see how we're watching that heavy rainfall pushing through Newcastle County, southern Newcastle County. This is just south of Middletown, Delaware. Middletown, of course, you're getting the heavy rainfall as well. Highway 15, 301, Highway 1, moving through sections of Newcastle County, Delaware. Here's another analysis of the rotation. There was some good rotation around the Massey area. That's in Maryland. Then it crossed into sections of Newcastle County, Delaware. So Highway 13 running right there just to the east of Townsend. And yes, there was a little bit of helicity in the atmosphere this evening. So once again, tornado warning in effect until 9:15 for Newcastle County. So this is what it means. Go to a basement. If you don't have a basement, of course, go to an interior room, windowless closet or bathroom. You want to get away from those windows. So here's another look. Tornado safety if you don't have a basement, and how things could just be rain wrapped, because I mean we're talking about those heavy bands. We were just outside of our studios before this tornado warning doing Facebook Live. So here's a look at the home, and you can just see what we're talking about. You want to avoid those windows, doors, and outside walls, and you want to be in an interior part of your home. Once again, this tornado warning's in effect until 9:15 for Newcastle County in Delaware, southern Newcastle Newcastle County, just south of Middletown, Delaware, the Townsend area, Dexter, Corners, the Massey area as well. So basement obviously is the best place. Now, outside of this tornado warning, we still have it highlighted there on the map, but take a look at all of those flood reports that have been coming in through Philadelphia County, Delaware County, Newcastle County, as well as Chester County. So that just tells you the heavy rain associated with this, but still looking at the severe weather threat right through midnight across the area, as well as that flood watch through 2 a.m. With this system. So as we go hour by hour, still looking at rounds of rainfall that will be pushing through the area. Ground stop, obviously, at the airport. No flights inbound or outbound. And once again, as we take a look at this radar, you can kind of see that little hook, if you will, that bow that kind of extends from Townsend to the Walker area right through Highway 13. So we'll just zoom in here a little bit and show you Taylor's Corner in Newcastle County. Point Breeze, you're underneath this as well. So this has been moving to the north and east slowly. So training showers and thunderstorms with this system. Kathy, are you seeing anything else on the velocity tracker or on the other source?
You know what, I'm looking at that right now, and here is our warning area as we take a zoom out, and you can see the warned box here. And as I take a zoom in on the radar, I have to make sure I'm not including that box. So I'll take the warning off, and we'll look at the velocity, and you can see in this area, if I had the warning back on, we're seeing winds toward the radar. We're not seeing, I have to take the warning off because you can be confused by the color.
They just kind of shrunk the box area as well. Did you see that they just
exactly. And here it is. It's a little bit more condensed now. Rose Valley Estates, Taylor's Corners, Meadow Vista, and even Townsend. If I zoom out, you're going to be able to see this a little bit better. So here is the warning box, and you can see it extending toward the south and east, more towards Smyrna at this point, Scott.
And they're going to continue it. I just got an alert. They're going to continue the tornado warning until at least 9:15. So it says it's located potentially near Green Spring. That's in Newcastle County, and moving to the northeast at 20 miles per hour.
Okay, let's see. We're seeing the heavy rain. This box extends all the way down from Ratledge Road through Massey Church Road into Black Diamond Road into Clark Farm Road, which is a larger thoroughfare, even extending into Dexter Corner Road. So this is the area of concern. And I was looking at the shear, and I'm going to take the warning off because you can see the red there. Not a tremendous amount of shear right here on the map right now, or hail, Scott. I haven't seen a lot of hail signatures or debris with this, which is a good thing. When I was looking at the velocity, you can see a lot of green, a lot of wind toward the radar.
And we've lost the daytime heating, so that helps a lot too.
Exactly. So right now, I'm looking at heavy rain and the potential for some damaging winds. I'm trying to get a severe indicator here, but it's not showing up for me. So as far as the track is concerned, we know that the storm is moving. Is it still to the northeast at 20 miles an hour?
Northeast at about 20 miles per hour.
So it's the same speed.
It's moving just right over Highway 13 as we go back to the map source, and you can just really see the heavy rainfall just in between Middletown as well as the Townsend area. Now, Middletown's not really included in that tornado warning, but you probably should just treat this as such because nonetheless, we're talking about the potential for damaging wind gusts in excess of 60, 70 miles per hour with this, and you can see it lifting on off to the northeast at about 20 miles per hour now, moving the heavy rainfall right along Highway 13, just going right through sections of Newcastle County in Delaware. So once again, we'll kind of zoom into this, and you can see we're looking at the Blackbird area, Taylor's Corner. You're under this very heavy rainfall rates at 2 to 3 inches per hour with this. So many locations north of this along the I-95 corridor getting back into Pennsylvania have already seen 3 or more inches of rainfall because the rainfall rates have just been so intense, and it's only moving 15 to 20 miles per hour. So once again, that tornado warning continues for another 6 minutes or so. So we're just watching this as it continues lifting to the north and east. If you're watching us in kind of central southern parts of Newcastle County in Delaware, we've been watching showers and thunderstorms move from Maryland, the eastern shore of Maryland, with a little rotation, a little shear with them, some twist, some spin in the atmosphere. So that is what has prompted this. So once again, there's been some shear with this. More notable, I would say, probably in Maryland when this cell was in Maryland, but just zooming in without the radar, showing you some of the highways and some of the roads and streets impacted here. Green Meadow Court, Edgar Road, South Street, Lake Valley Drive in sections of Newcastle County, moving right along. This is Highway 71, Witherspoon Way. Looks like we have Minglewood Drive. You're included in that tornado warning. Money Road, moving toward Ginn Street. We're just showing you some of the locations and neighborhoods. New Discovery Road. It looks like Union Church Road is included in that as well. Back down to Queen Anne's Drive, the Blackbird area. Let's see, Ponder Lane, Black Diamond Road, Tina Marie Lane. If you are in sections of Newcastle County, Delaware, within this box, that is where we have the current tornado warning. So very heavy rainfall, lots of wind with this. I just got an alert in here, and let me just see. They're going to allow it to expire.
Okay,
so
good.
that's the good news. So
yeah.
It's until 9:15, but they're going to allow it to expire.
That's great. Great news, Scott. I mean, we're looking at the radar right now, and you can see that heavier rain was moving out of that particular area. So that is definitely good news. So the tornado warning that was indicated south of Middletown, Delaware, in Newcastle County has been allowed to expire. We continue with the warnings in Pennsylvania. Of course, flash flood warnings in the Philadelphia, Delaware County, and Chester County areas. Those continue till midnight. If there's any additional severe weather, tornado warnings will be the first to let you know, and of course have full team coverage beginning on Fox 29 News at 10 o'clock. Stay safe out there tonight, and we'll see you at 10. This just into the Weather Center. A tornado warning has been issued for Ocean County and also for East Central Atlantic County in South Jersey until 11:30. Tornado was indicated on Doppler radar by the National Weather Service by Brigantine. So it's located over Brigantine or near. So that speed and direction will move the storm very quickly toward the northeast and potentially offshore very quickly as well. But we're looking at some areas that would be impacted by this. Brigantine, Tuckerton, Mystic Island. The severe storm will be near Holgate by 11:17, Beach Haven Heights by 11:16, even into West Tuckerton Landing by 11:18, Tuckerton by 11:19, North Beach Haven by 11:21, and even into Beach Haven Park by 11:23. Once again, this is a potential tornado, a Doppler radar indicated tornado, a tornado warning in effect for East Central Atlantic County and South Central Ocean County in southern New Jersey. And when we look at the storm, you can see we're looking at the area right near Brigantine, Atlantic City, Absecon, and Pleasantville, and the storm moving very quickly. So that's good news. It will be in and out of the area, but still covering some real estate, parts of Atlantic County, and moving into Ocean County. And that really focusing toward LBI, and this is the area of concern over Long Beach Island, Beach Haven, Holgate, extending northward through Loveladies, also as you head a little bit farther toward Ship Bottom. So please be aware of this area. It's the southern part of LBI, including Beach Haven, Tuckerton, obviously extending down toward the south central part and east central part of Atlantic County. So I'm going to take off this radar so we can take a look at some other indicators that there could potentially be some spin with this particular storm. So as we widen out here, you can see the area of concern where we see the green, that's indicated some shear, and also we look for some hail with the storm. So first you see a severe thunderstorm, then typically you have hail, and then some rotation within the thunderstorm. We look for any type of debris that could be from the storm, and also velocity mode, winds moving toward and away from the area. I'm not seeing anything spinning there exactly at this point, but we are looking for where the greens and the reds are very close together, and this area would be an area that we would look at that would be close to seeing some type of spin. I'm going to bring in my colleague, Scott Williams. And Scott, are you seeing anything on the Doppler radar inside the Weather Center?
Yeah, just seeing a lot of shear, broad shear, Kathy, with this as it continues moving on off to the north and the east between Brigantine as well as for the Beach Haven area. We saw all of that lightning, the heavy rain ponding on the roadway. So just a lot of moisture with this system. So once again, take a look there at the area of concern, moving through sections of Ocean County right now, as well as into a portion of Atlantic County around the Brigantine. This is just north of Atlantic City, so tornado warning until about 11:30. So we'll zoom in on this particular radar map, and you can see some of the areas, Tuckerton, Mystic Island, of course, Beach Haven, just south of the Ship Bottom area there as you move outside of the LBI area, moving just north of Atlantic City around Brigantine. So just very heavy rainfall with this as it continues lifting on off to the north and to the east. It's had a history of producing heavy rainfall with this. We were watching this earlier, moving through sections of Atlantic County as well as Cape May County. And it's kind of like converging, if you will, the southern part of that around Brigantine, with the northern part of that moving through southern Burlington County as well as into Ocean County. So all of that energy is just kind of converging toward Mystic Island, also Brigantine, toward the Beach Haven area. You may not have that heavy rainfall just yet around the Beach Haven area, but it is going to be headed in your direction. So once again, this is an indicator of the shear, and you can see that blue that continues moving to the east of Galloway, moving north of Atlantic City. That just shows you that there's some of that rotation that Kathy was showing you on the radar. So we'll zoom in a little closer with this. Brigantine, once again, you're in that area of that potential rain-wrapped tornado. We'll just kind of zoom in here a little closer, and you can see some of the streets. Ocean Avenue, Beach Avenue, moving toward Washington Drive, Travelers Place Road, Lafayette Boulevard. So once again, seeing just broad rotation, broad shear here. That's the blue that you're seeing moving through this particular area, moving through the bay. And then once again, as we get up to Holgate, you're included in that, Beach Haven, Spray Beach, moving up, right through the Beach Haven area, Brant Beach. So once again, if you're in these areas, you're underneath that tornado warning until about 11:30. So we've seen some spin, we've seen some rotation in the atmosphere with this, and that is why this is a warned storm for a potential tornado. Look at all the heavy rainfall with this, as well as the lightning. So just stretching through the Brigantine area right now with just very heavy rainfall. We've seen rainfall rates 2 to 3 inches per hour with this. So you can see there's Brigantine right there, looking at the heavy rainfall, the gusty winds in excess of 60, 70 miles per hour with this. So it can produce wind damage in an instant as this continues lifting on off to the north and east. So Kathy, are you seeing anything else in terms of that inbound, outbound, a little bit of a couplet we saw, it looks like, on that velocity?
Yeah, and you know, and as I'm looking at the shear, this is a rotation tracker from the last hour, and you can see from Atlantic County heading toward Ocean County, it does increase where you see the green. So this is actually the spin moving eastward, and we go from the greens, which is weak, to some spotty red, which is stronger. So that would be one indication that we would be seeing some type of spin. I mentioned I was looking for some hail with this. I did see some closer to Ocean City, but not in this particular cell. And when we look at the velocity, we talked about how we want to see that that spin, and we want to see these reds and these greens close together and almost twisting next to each other. So that wind moving toward the radar indicated in green and away from the radar indicated in red. And if we take a closer look at this, if we just put it still in velocity mode and I zoom in a little bit closer as we get toward Beach Haven, we're seeing this between Brigantine and Beach Haven. Those colors are merging close together side by side, so that would indicate some rotation there. So we'll keep an eye on the radar as well. I'm going to zoom out a little bit and just show you this area. So a very busy area. If you know Brigantine, you go right over the bridge to Atlantic City, and as we watch this heavier rain going across the islands and heading into Holgate and Beach Haven, we do see many times, because of the topography of LBI and the way that the storms flow across from west to east, typically in the summer, that this area is prone to some of our stronger storms for our short points. And case in point, with this potential tornado warning underway. So you can see everything converging on Beach Haven. And if I put the warning back on there, you can see that this goes just to the south of Ship Bottom. And Scott, we did look at some of the areas highlighted. If you're familiar with Beach Haven, you know that there's like one road in and one road out, and we know it's a barrier island. So when you have all this rain converging and these storms pushing across the bay and toward the barrier island, there is big potential for flooding as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I actually was just in Beach Haven this past weekend at the show place. So, you know, you have all of the amusement rides as well. So this is continuing to move toward the north and east at about 40 miles per hour. So once again, we're talking about Brigantine, north of Atlantic City. Look at all of that lightning. This is pushing on off to the north and east toward the Beach Haven area. So once again, we're looking at Atlantic City right now. Atlantic City is not in that tornado warning. It's just to the north and east of Atlantic City. But once again, this is going to be moving toward the Beach Haven area. So Long Beach Boulevard there. You have Fantasy Island Amusement Park. Of course, you have many restaurants. You have North Atlantic Avenue there. And this continues to move on off to the north and the east. So you can see Holgate, Beach Haven Heights, certainly in the path of this particular storm as it continues lifting on off to the north and east. You can see right now we're watching some of the heavy rainfall. This also includes a portion of Highway 9 there just outside of the Eagleswood area, moving back toward the Parker's Landing vicinity as well. So once again, some broad rotation with this. Okay, it looks like they just changed the box. What I'm going to do is move and adjust that, and you can see it does not include Brigantine now. It's lifting to the north of Brigantine. So right now, that tornado warned area, it looks like it is just going to include, let's see here, the Beach Haven vicinity. So they took that sliver of Brigantine out. Right now it's moving to the north and east. So let me look and see what the latest information coming into. Okay, it says capable of producing tornado near Tuckerton or 12 miles northeast of Atlantic City, moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So they updated that particular area. They just updated it, and you can still see that inbound and outbound on the Barron computer as we switch sources, Kathy, showing you a little bit of that couplet that we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking right here. We're looking for the red and the green. You can see the winds moving toward the radar and the winds moving away from the radar side by side. And you can see that. You can see it here around Dock Road, but also right here between Dock Street and Great Bay Boulevard. This is in the warning area, and this, Scott, would be our best bet of seeing that rotation where you see this. And this would be near Dock Street. And here's Route 9 North. You mentioned that near Great Bay Boulevard. This is where we're seeing the rotation. Here's Beach Haven just to the east, and to the north, we're looking at Eagleswood. So this is the area of concern. If you know anyone that lives in this neighborhood near Dock Road, Dock Street, even approaching North Bay Avenue on LBI, here is the bay. So it's just to the west of the bay along Route 9. That is the area of concern. That is where we could have a potential tornado, a rotating thunderstorm, and maybe rain wrapped because of the heavy rain associated with this. So all this precipitation obviously moving in. This is the exact same area I was showing the spin right in here, Scott, near Great Bay Boulevard. You can also see Route 9, and I'm going to see if we have, I'm going to take our warning off here so you can see the shear. Here's the shear. Here's the greatest shear going over the bay right now, and this is heading toward Beach Haven. So a lot going on here. This is the shear in the past hour, that spin in the atmosphere. It's not rain, so where you see the green, that is some spin, and a greater spin where you see that darker red. But as we put that warning area back on, I'm going to remove the radar so you can just see the warned area. And we're really talking about this area right here, Great Bay Boulevard. Obviously, you have the whole bay here, Dock Street, Route 9, and then all of this converging on South Bay Ave and Beach Haven, and also the smaller communities along South Bay Avenue, and very heavy rain with this as well. We cannot emphasize enough how strong the winds could be with this, and the rain as well. So I'll take a zoom in on this just to give you perspective. There is southern Ocean County, and this is the southern end of LBI, and you can see all of that heavy rain converging on the island. We're talking about rain rates of 2 to 3 inches an hour, and all of this pushing toward the bay. And you also have the force of the storms moving eastward, and obviously all the bay water. So you could have some high rising water, some ponding and localized flooding from the bay, and also obviously because of the heavy rain. On top of that, winds associated with this potential tornado could be around 80 or 90 miles an hour, depending on the strength of it. But the rain and a lot of lightning with this too, Scott. We can't underestimate that. So a big situation on LBI, and Holgate would be included in this, the southernmost point, and also Beach Haven. And as you mentioned, since it is a barrier island, it's obviously low-lying, and there's a lot of folks that are out there for a lot of recreation, a lot of nice bars and restaurants. So if you have friends in Beach Haven, and you're in the northern part of the island or you're in Manahawkin, give them a call and let them know that this potential dangerous storm is heading your way.
Yeah, I mean, just impressive rain with this system as we've been watching it the entire afternoon and evening, pushing from D.C. through the Chesapeake Bay, the eastern shore of Maryland, through Delaware. We had a couple of tornado warnings, and then all of this is kind of pushing toward the shore. So it's kind of the last hurrah, if you will, of this system we've been watching for several hours. High water rescues through parts of the Delaware Valley with the system because all that tropical moisture is in place. We had the remnants of Chantal just the other day, so the stage has been set. We still have that front that's off to the west, so all this is kind of squeezing and pushing toward the Beach Haven area right now. So once you cross the bridge into LBI, south of the Ship Bottom area, that's the area in question that we're watching right now. So lots of folks are vacationing, likely wondering what's going on. You had a nice day at the beach, and now you're looking at all of that lightning and the heavy rainfall pushing toward the Beach Haven area. So we do have that tornado warning in effect for this area until 11:30. So another 15 minutes or so. You can see moving toward Holgate right now. Some of that heavy rainfall is pushing in, crossing the bay. The Tuckerton area is in effect until 11:30 as well. Beach Haven, that heavy rain is going to be pushing toward the area as well. So we're going to be watching this. It's moving to the north and east at a pretty good clip, though, at about 40 miles per hour. So we've kind of shown you the progression of this, as well as some of that rotation, that shear. That's a pretty good indication of some spin in the atmosphere. Obviously, it's dark, it's rain wrapped. If we do have that tornado, maybe even a water spout, if you will, around the bay as it continues pushing to the north and east. I mean, even just a few hours ago, we were saying we could potentially see a water spout or a tornado, Kathy, in this particular area.
Yeah, and this area is actually known for that, and sometimes those come ashore, so you have to be aware of that as well. You have the shallower waters of the bay, and that's when you typically would get a water spout, and then you have this spin with this potential tornado, so that's a definite possibility on the bay side of LBI as well. I did run a track with the storm moving east at 40 miles an hour, which is pretty fast. The storm being in Beach Haven around 11:21, and Beach Haven Terrace by 11:24, Beach Haven Crest at 11:26, and Brant Beach by 11:27 and Ship Bottom by 11:35. Whatever is left of this storm, if it's a severe thunderstorm, would be in Surf City very quickly after that at 11:32 and Long Beach by 11:35. But as you can see, within the next 10 minutes, the storm will be in this area, and we're talking about Beach Haven Park, Ship Bottom, and of course Long Beach is farther north out of the tornado warned area, but also this could linger as a severe thunderstorm. So when you have a severe thunderstorms, it's winds of at least 60 miles an hour or greater. With a tornado, we do anticipate some stronger winds associated with that, and that on top of the torrential rain that's already been falling with these systems. So definitely a serious situation here, and we want to remind everyone that please, when you are in this type of situation, if you know anybody on LBI, make sure that they know to get an interior room of their home away from the windows or in the basement, a safe place to be with your phone, with your TV, and just wait until the storm passes, because it definitely is a serious situation. And we've been watching this for the past couple of days, and we have seen obviously very heavy rain. We've heard stories of water rescues. Our Don Timoney reported on that in Delaware County. There are reports in Chester County, even flooding in Philadelphia. So these storms have a history of torrential downpours. So you don't even want to be on the road at this point. So if you know anybody that's taking the bridge over from Manahawkin, heading to LBI and heading southward toward Beach Haven, it's best to hold off those plans until this storm passes. So once again, this tornado warning in effect until 11:30, and we will see if that will be allowed to expire in the next 12 minutes.
They just provided an update. They're going to continue it right now, Kathy, and also the area is shrinking that's included. I don't know if you see that box there. You can see it's really just between Ship Bottom as well as Beach Haven. So it's kind of they've shrunk that particular area of that warning.
That's great. That's great news. So not right now, I'm just going to put the warning back on there because we're pretty tight zoomed in. So it's right here on North Bay Avenue. So I'm going to take a zoom in right to where our box is so we can look at the local communities. So now in the warning area, we have Beach Haven, North Beach Haven, Beach Haven Gardens, which we just ran the track on, where you can see these reds and purples. Like, this is extremely heavy rain where you see the purple color. Along Long Beach Boulevard into Beach Haven Park, Brighton Beach, Beach Haven Crest, Brant Beach, and towards Ship Bottom. So this is our warning area. So good news that that area of the tornado warning is shrinking and moving northward. So Scott, we're going to have to see what that means for any type of indicators. Our shear indicator, oh yeah, wow, that's impressive. For the spin, when you see shear markers like this in green and red, that's an indication of the spin. And we're going to look at that velocity again, Scott, and you can see the inbound wind and the outbound wind almost interlocked here near Long Beach Boulevard between Ship Bottom and Beach Haven. So we're going to keep a careful eye on that. That's obviously in the warning area. And our velocity too, within the past hour, we've seen this bit of twist here. So it looks like this system is obviously, this potential tornado, progressing very quickly toward Ship Bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just you can really look at that little couplet right there of the winds going toward the radar and away. So it's going right over that busy tourist area, lots of restaurants, hotels, shops, Long Beach Boulevard, right there between Ship Bottom and Beach Haven. So still watching this. Now, it is moving pretty rapidly to the north and east at about 40 miles per hour, but that's the good news. But once again, we're talking about heavy rainfall. We're talking about vivid lightning with this. Some of the rainfall rates 2 to 3 inches per hour with this. So we're looking at a lot of energy pushing to the north and east with that momentum, as well as those winds likely gusting over 60, 70 miles per hour as this pushes through the Beach Haven area. area as well as Ship Bottom. So that area is shrinking right now under that tornado warning. But once again, that concern still continues for another 9 minutes or so for the possibility of a rain-wrapped tornado moving through the Beach Haven area. So as we kind of zoom in a little closer here, you can see we're looking at Beach Haven, Spray Beach. We're also looking at Ship Bottom. Some very heavy rainfall with this, and we're talking about those rainfall rates that have prompted high water rescues for areas in Chester County, Newcastle County, Delco earlier this evening with this situation. So lots of energy in the atmosphere, not only to produce damaging winds, but to produce some of those flood concerns out of this system that we've been watching. So here's another look at some of that rotation, the shear analysis, and you can see that blue is indicating that it's been moving from west to east, pushing right through the Beach Haven area. So once again, we're talking about the rainfall rates. I think you have it queued up on Barron, Kathy. Just tremendous amounts of rainfall with this system.
Yeah, and it's a good thing it's moving so quickly because these are per hour. So if the storm were to sit here for an hour, you can see this purple indicates about 7.5 inches of rain in an hour. Thank goodness it's moving at 40 miles an hour. 6.2 inches an hour in Tuckerton. So yes, they are very high rain rates. Now, if we look at the rain that's fallen so far, you can see over here, I'm going to clear this query so we can get a better idea about this. But you can see even in the past here, this area, Bass River, even Tuckerton, so far they've seen close to an inch of rain. But we do anticipate that when all is said and done, it will definitely be much higher rainfall, at least a couple of inches when all is said and done here with those rain rates of 6 to 7.5 inches an hour. The good news, it's moving quickly. And as you mentioned, that warned area has shrunk between Beach Haven and Ship Bottom, and the heaviest rain is over LBI between Beach Haven Gardens right now, Brant Beach, heading toward Ship Bottom. And we did talk about the fact that we see that shear popping up in this warned area highlighted in red. That is an indication of strong shear on our guide here. And I haven't seen anything in the way of hail, Scott. I don't know if you have, or any type of debris indicators, which is a good sign at this point. That would mean that a storm, a tornado.
What about the lightning counter? Can you go and show the lightning counter? How much lightning is in that particular area?
There's a lot. I mean, there have been thousands of strikes, but as I mentioned, debris would indicate that there was something touching the ground and debris was being pulled up in the atmosphere. So not seeing that is always a good sign. Let's go back to radar and I'll show you the lightning counter, Scott, because this has been impressive. If I go back the last hour and show you how much lightning there's been. We have had about 600 strikes. Yeah, so to the west, it was about 100, 200 strikes. And this is about every 15 minutes. And you can see how it's increased. If I widen out and we look at a wider range of real estate, it goes up into about 1,200. And that would be mainly through South Jersey and in that original warned area. So definitely a lot of lightning. But I think obviously the calling card with this would be that torrential rain, potential for flooding, and obviously those winds that could be spinning, as we talked about, 70, maybe 80 mile an hour winds, if indeed this ends up being a confirmed tornado. But we'll continue to keep an eye on it. There's definitely spin there. There's some shear there. We've seen it on the velocity indicators. Typically, we would see a hail tracker on this, but not the case with this particular storm. And they're going to allow it to expire, so that's the good news. So we'll probably just stay on a few more minutes, but they are going to allow for that to expire. I just got word in on that, so that's good news. Okay. They're going to allow the tornado warning for that area to expire, but we're still talking about the heavy rainfall, the gusty winds moving through that particular area. Is moving on off to the north and east at about 20 to 35 miles per hour. So certainly that's the good news with this. That tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. So once again, we're still watching out for heavy rainfall, gusty winds that have been moving through that vicinity. And there's just been broad shear with this. So tornado warning, no tornado warning.
warning right now, we're still talking about that shear that's capable of producing some damaging winds over 60, 70 miles per hour in this particular area, as all of that energy just pushes on off to the east as this system starts to exit the Jersey shore. It started in Maryland earlier this afternoon, and now it's just progressing on off to the north and the east. There's been some spin, some helicity with this system. That's certainly something that we look for in the atmosphere, but just broad rotation pushing through southern Ocean County right now that is capable of producing some wind damage. So they are going to allow that tornado warning to expire. So that is the breaking news. That is the good news that we have. But it's been moving through the Beach Haven area, Ship Bottom over the last half hour or so, producing heavy rainfall, gusty winds, as well as vivid lightning with this. And we've been talking about those temperatures today that made it into the 80s, into the low 90s even for the Philadelphia area, Kathy.
Absolutely. We've had so much heat and so much humidity, and as we watch the storms finally exit, we expect this to be our last warned storm as the storm continues to move eastward. You can see there's some lingering showers behind it, but the energy is moving off of Ocean County and LBI, the barrier island. Behind it, we definitely have some drier air, and we've been actually looking at things like the dew point temperatures. That shows the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. They are still pretty high in the 60s and 70s. There is definitely still a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Temperatures have fallen into the 60s and the 70s. And the problem with all of this precipitation, and the reason for it, is we're caught in this warm sector where a warm front is lifted to the north. A cold front is the lifting mechanism for these storms. And we do anticipate the next couple of days we could be seeing some additional storms, but we do not think that we will be seeing them in such intensity. So for tonight, we're hoping that the flood threat will be ending. And of course, we'll be forecasting more storms this week, and we'll keep you informed. That is the latest from the Weather Center. Coming up next, the Fantastic Sports Show. We hope you have a great evening. We're going to go to break.